Concretely, what are you looking for? The the book Spatial Sight names 4 kinds of recurrence, and I want you to have them explicitly so you're not vaguely hunting for something. Recurring zones, regions of your surface that consistently attract cards or consistently repel them. Does the upper left keep filling? Does the space nearest your body keep staying clear? Recurring configurations, the named patterns, a split, a spine, a satellite, a collapse, shapes that keep arriving across sessions. You have been drawing these for 11 days without being asked to name whether they recur. Recurring voids, any area that keeps refusing to be filled, session after session. And note the phrasing there, refusing. 10 identical empty corners is a very different object from one empty corner, and you are only now in a position to know the difference. And sharper somatics. This one is about you rather than the table. The jolt and the weight becoming more specific, more locatable, more distinguishable from one another. Your instrument is getting finer. Now, one instruction that governs all 4. You're looking for recurrence. You're not yet looking for meaning. If you find that your voids cluster in the lower right, that is a finding. My voids cluster in the lower right. That is where the finding stops. It does not become, I'm avoiding the future, or there is something in my life I'm refusing to look at. You have 11 sessions. You do not have enough to know what a recurring void in the lower right means, or whether it means anything at all, or whether it is simply an artifact of being right-handed and dealing cards the way you deal them. The last possibility deserves your respect, by the way, and it's exactly this sort of thing a real confirmation would catch. Here is the discipline that separates this from every credulous version of the same practice. Before you call something a pattern, rule out the boring cause. Most recurrence has a mechanical explanation, and you owe it to yourself to go looking for it first, with genuine enthusiasm, not as a grudging formality. Ask yourself, are you right-handed and do you always deal from the same side of the deck? Then of course cards will tend to land slightly to one side. Is your table lit from one direction so that you unconsciously place cards where you can see them best? Do you always sit in the same chair at the same edge so that near your body is always the same physical region of the same table? Any of those will generate a beautiful, stable, highly consistent recurrence across 30 days. It will look exactly like a finding, and it will be a fact about your furniture. So here is a test you can run this week, and I would like you to actually run it. Change one physical variable. Deal from the other side of the deck. Rotate the surface 90 degrees. Sit in a different chair. And then watch what happens to your pattern. If it rotates with you, if the cluster follows your dominant hand to the new orientation, then it was never a fact about the field. It was a fact about your hand, and you have just saved yourself 20 days of building an elaborate interpretation on top of a mechanical artifact. And if it does not rotate, if the geometry stays where it was, in the same region of the table, even after you changed how you approach it, then you have something small and provisional, and still requiring many more sessions, but something that survived an honest attempt to kill it. That is what a finding is. Not something you noticed, something that survived. Your drill. Notice that the record itself doesn't change at all, and what changes is what happens after it. 1. Run your session exactly as you did in phase 1. 5 steps, in order, 1 sitting. All 3 signals, distance, cluster, void. Nothing about this session is different. You're not looking for patterns while you work. You are recording geometry as you have for 10 days. 2. Close the record. Freeze it. And only now do you look back. The freeze protects today's map from being bent toward a pattern you're hoping to confirm. 3. Open your map from 3 days ago. That is day 8. Look at it briefly, a minute, not an hour. 4. Note any recurrence in your integration notes. One line. Something like, same void region as day 8, lower right, similar proportion. Or, just as valuably, nothing in common with day 8. Write that second line down too. A session with no recurrence is not a wasted comparison. It is a data point about how often things do not repeat. And you will need that number to know whether the repetitions mean anything at all. 5. And for anything you did notice, write what would prove it wrong in the disconfirmation metric field before you know. That is phase 2. It is the same log with 2 extra minutes at the end, and those 2 minutes are where the entire second act of this course happens. 2 things may happen tonight, and I want you prepared for both, because both are normal and neither is a verdict. The first is the click. You will look at day 8 and day 11, and something will rhyme, and you'll feel it land. Warm, certain, immediate, obvious. There it is. The thing is real. Do not trust it. Test it. I'm not telling you the pattern is false. It may well be true. I'm telling you that the feeling cannot distinguish. That warmth arrives with equal conviction for a genuine recurrence and for a face in the wallpaper. And the fact that it feels like knowledge is a property of your nervous system rather than a property of the evidence. The click is the beginning of an investigation. It is never its conclusion. The second thing that may happen is flatness. You look at day 8 and you look at today and there's nothing. No rhyme, no echo. 11 days of records and not one thing that repeats. That is not a failure. And I want to give you the strongest possible reason why not. You cannot know whether a repetition is meaningful unless you know how often things fail to repeat. If every session resembled every other, resemblance would carry no information. You already know this argument from the smoke detector and from the lexicon, and here it is a third time in its final form. The non-matches are what give the matches their weight. Every flat comparison you log is building the denominator, and without a denominator, a match is just a story. So write down the nothing. It is one of the most valuable things in the notebook. That is day 11, and that is phase 2 open. The permission you may now compare. After each session, never during, briefly review your map from 3 days prior and ask what has been repeated. The safeguard, in the same breath, for anything you notice, write what would prove it wrong before you know. A pattern that cannot fail is not a pattern, it is a preference. And the thing to remember when the click comes, and it will, the click is not evidence. It is hypothesis with good marketing. Look for recurrence. Name what would kill it. Then let the next 3 days try. You are not asked to believe. You are asked to record. And now to test. Tomorrow, we go deeper into exactly that. Disconfirmation, properly, the discipline of trying to kill your own finding on purpose with real effort and meaning it. It is the least natural thing this method will ever ask of you. It is also the reason anything you have left standing on day 30 will be worth having. I'm Dr. Rivka Edery, author of Spatial, signing off for tonight. I am so looking forward to seeing you on day 12. I hope you'll join me.